Hey guys, welcome back. Welcome to the stream.
Hello, hello. Thanks to everyone for joining us this fine Sunday.
I'm Marc Headley, and I'm joined by my lovely wife Claire today. And
Yes.
we're gonna do a fun live today. Guessing some of you might have seen the thumbnail. That is Claire and myself in the thumbnail, and we're going to be showing you a Scientology Sea Organization wedding today. And this is Sea Org, Sea Org, Sea Org. Everything about this is very, very Sea Org. And so we're going to get to that in a little bit. We are going to do some giveaways at the end of this video. And if you want to enter into that giveaway, then you just have to type hashtag BFG in the comments. And if you want to tell us where you're watching from today, that's always fun as well. We like to see where everybody's tuning in from around the globe. And so if you do the location and that hashtag, then you automatically get in. So it's easy peasy, fresh and squeezy. And yeah, we're also going to do 2 giveaways of people that watched last week's replay video and voted or said where they were from. We're going to enter a few of those people in to win today as well. So so that even those guys that watched the replay get a chance to win. And we'll try to do that on the next time we do it live. We'll try to do that for this one. Right,
Sounds
babe?
good. Yep.
Pretty quiet over
Got a
there.
plan. Yeah, well, it's Sunday and it's been a long day already.
Yeah. By the way, guys, this is a crazy thing. Okay. Today, Claire did she did a 10K this morning. And
I did.
I want to
And
say
hey,
that she got back. Yeah.
Doxer, it didn't happen,
Yeah.
right?
It was a 10K trail race. So it wasn't just a 10K around town. It was like through the hills and on all the trails in our little town here. But and I made French toast and bacon. That's what I did this morning. Okay.
Yeah, it was a beautiful run. It was amazing. We just live in an absolutely beautiful part of America. Colorado is awesome, and I love doing these trail races. The people are so nice. Like anytime someone passes you or you pass them, they're always like, "You got this. You're doing good." We're all like, "We got this. Keep going." It's awesome.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
there you go.
I didn't even know it was a trail 10K until she showed me her little necklace or whatever. What do you want to call that? A trophy
It's a
or
medal.
medal? When she
We'll
showed me
run
it,
for
said,
medals. That's my motto.
as soon as she showed me it, I was like, "Oh, it was a trail 10K." I was like, "Oh my goodness!" All I
Yeah,
can think
it's
about is
great when
this.
you're going downhill, going uphill, especially like 5 miles in. That can be pretty, you're like, "Come on, get to the finish line."
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, it's wild. Okay, so let's here. I'll pop these up, and then you read them out. How about we do it that way?
Perfect. Got a plan. All right, Nicholas Hall. Hello from France again, BFG. Thank you for joining us, Nicholas. Good to see you here. Mary Kay London. Hi from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Hello. Salted Caramel Whiskey. Greetings from Crisfield, Maryland. Thank you so much for joining us. Gretchen Philly. Greetings from Philadelphia. Trevanon, good evening from Clearwater, Netherlands. Nice. I hope the weather in Clearwater is good for you over there. Betsy Sue, just call me Betsy. Greetings from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Thank you so much for being here. One Love, 51, 51,000. Hello from Pennsylvania. I'm so ready for this. All right. Yeah, we've been talking about doing this for like a little over a year now. Matt Denny, hey all, won't be able to make this live, unfortunately, as I'm out with my band. We'll watch it on catch up. Have a great one from your friend across the pond. Thanks, Matt. Good to see you. And Apostate Alex in the house. Hey, outgoing Claire Headley on Scientology. I'm blown for good. Scientology exposed. Thanks for being here, Alex. And hey, way to go on your hard work in England this past week. I'm sure many people know or heard of. And if you didn't, then get on over to Apostate Alex's channel. He succeeded in demanding that East Grinstead release documents to him relating to Scientology nefarious activities there. So good job, Mrs. T. Rush from Spring Hill. I missed that one. Oh yeah, Florida, formerly Clearwater. I'm not sure if that's true or false, or if it's a play on Clearwater, but either way, One Love 51,000, Pennsylvania, BFG, hashtag BFG. There you go. And yeah, just a reminder to anyone joining us, hashtag BFG, put that in the comments if you'd like to be included in the giveaways. Trevenon, BFG, Clearwater, Netherlands. Scientology Audit, Ottawa, Canada, hashtag BFG. Thank you so much for joining us. Charlotte Arrow, North Carolina, hashtag BFG. There we go. We're getting the hang of this.
Yeah, you don't have to read
Poodlebone,
the
hello from New
hashtag
York.
BFG.
Okay. I was mainly just reiterating it for anyone joining us. Maria Martins, hello. This time got here on time. That's amazing. And Maria, thank you so much for being a part of our giveaway train, as it were. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but all of the giveaways that we've been doing in the past few weeks have all been people donating for us to give them away. So
yes,
Dr. X has done a whole bunch.
And Dr. Paul, her partner.
And Paul,
Yep.
and so and all of the giveaways that we're doing today are also donated by Dr. X and Paul again today. So
yes, and again, just to reiterate, all the proceeds from the SP shop, which is where we sell bobbleheads, fake Navy, Davy elves, SP bracelets, and new things coming soon. All the proceeds benefit the Aftermath Foundation, so we really appreciate the support. Cassie in the house. Hey guys, from Jacksonville, Florida. It has been a minute, Cassie. It's really good to see you here. Marc might say it Casey, but there you go. Gretchen Philly from Fishtown, Philadelphia. Thank you for being here. JLBB 57, Chicago, Illinois. Awesome. Charlotte Arrow, North Carolina. Awesome. Catherine Olson, hi from the Willamette Valley, Oregon. This is the Shire. All right. Jackie Lopez, Los Angeles, California. First-time viewer. Awesome, Jackie. Thank you so much for being here. Punch Buggy, hello from South Dakota. Colonel Brock, NorCal. Hello, Colonel Brock. Good to see you here. Valeska Truex, Prescott, Arizona. Wow, we got all over the map. Mary Kay, Albuquerque, New Mexico. Necessary Trouble, hello from Montana. Hello, thanks for joining us. One of my favorite usernames right there. Homeboy wore combat boots to the beach. California, but not gold base. Yes. April Jackson, Nottinghamshire. There we go.
Wow. Well, that's a lot. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Yes.
And
we do appreciate it.
We've had a lot.
And we're saying hello from Clearwater, Colorado.
Yeah. There's a ton of people in here. We might even do a little bit if you guys want to star some of the ones I didn't cover, we can maybe do those a little bit later. But we've got over 250 people in here now, so I figure we're good enough to get going here. And
yes.
What do we got here? So how do we want to what do we want to do? We want to start this. So
how do we want to set this up?
so I joined. If you guys want to get all this in excruciating detail, then you can read my book, Blown for Good: Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology. But basically, Claire and I were both grew up in Scientology, and we both joined the Sea Organization, which is the organization where you sign a billion-year contract, and you dedicate your life to being in the Sea Organization, which is sort of a fraternal order within Scientology. And you basically you dedicate your entire existence to Scientology. And because our parents were Scientologists and we grew up in Scientology and we went to Scientology schools, in a lot of those schools, you're certainly being indoctrinated to think and act like a Scientologist. And so in Scientology, the Sea Organization manages all of their operations internationally. And the people that do that are the billion-year contract people. The people that work in the local Scientology organizations, they are often Scientology staff members who've signed a 2.5-year or 5-year contract, and they just work there during the day, and then they go home to their families and their life at the end of the day, and then they just come back in the next morning. We lived in Sea Organization facilities in what we called Sea Org birthing, and we went to work 7 days a week. Usually, the minimum work hour week would be 100 hours. That's the schedule, gives you 100-hour work week. Sometimes we would do all-nighters, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 all-nighters in a week, if that was the atmosphere of what was going on. And
Yeah, like
so
so many, I could never estimate how many times we stayed up all night. I mean, I did my first
thousands.
all-nighter when I
Yeah.
was 16, and from there it just became a blur. Yep.
Yeah, it was thousands over so I joined the Sea Organization in Los Angeles in 1989, and in 1990 I was what do you call it, repositioned. I was moved to the international headquarters. I was transferred to the international headquarters to work at Golden Era Productions in like late May 1990. And Claire arrived at that property. When exactly did you arrive at the property?
I was moved there in September 1991 at the age of 16
And when did you
after my
join before
parents signed over guardianship. Well, so it's, whatever. There's layer upon layer, but my mother joined the Sea Organization when I was 4 years old. And then I started my own billion-year contract when I was 16 in July of 1991.
Okay, good.
So July 1991, I started working at the big blue buildings in LA. And then by
Los
September of
Angeles.
in Los Angeles, that's right. And then by September of 1991, I was moved to the confidential location in Hemet, California, or Gilman Hot Springs, more specifically. And that's where I met you. We didn't know each other before that.
No. And crazily enough, you almost ended up going to the Delphi Academy, which was in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And if you would have ended up going there, you would have met me there, but you didn't end up because you were too old. They don't let you start going to the Delphi Academy in Los Angeles if you're over 14 years old. They want to get you younger than that so they can
Over
teach you.
13. Yeah,
Okay.
over 13. And so I showed up there 2 days after my 13th birthday, and they said I would have to petition to go there because it takes them. What they said at the time was it takes them too long to teach Scientology study technology, which was ridiculous because I'd already done like the PhD equivalent, the student hat by that time. But the bottom line is my parents could not afford it. And therefore we had moved to the US in September of 1988. And I never went back to school.
Yeah.
My parents
So
opted to not put me back in school. So there you have it.
yeah. So we
So
didn't
so back
really.
to 1991, we met our paths first crossed in September 1991 at the headquarters in Gilman Hot Springs, California.
Yeah, and at that time, I worked at Golden Era Productions in the manufacturing division. So I was the quality control for the cassette tape manufacturing. And I would listen to L. Ron Hubbard lectures that had been recorded, and I would compare them to the master recordings. And it's called an A/B. I would listen to a few seconds of the master, and then I would listen to a few seconds of the copy and make sure that they didn't vary too much in decibel levels and tonal quality and high end, low end, mids, all that nonsense. And then I also played some tones, some computer generated tones, and checked those on some analyzers, spectrum analyzer equipment, and volume meters, and that sort of thing. And then that's what I did all day, every day. I sat down and I did that for hours and hours and hours every day. And Claire, why don't you tell everybody what you were doing when I was doing that?
Yeah. So, from September 1991 until March 1996, I was working in what's called the Qualifications Division, which is the section of Golden Era Productions that is over the staff training and staff counseling, auditing, it's called. And so there's a course series called the Key to Life course and the Life Orientation course. And I was part of the delivery team that oversaw getting the staff at the base through those courses, because it was a requirement that everybody had to do those courses. The Key to Life course is where you look up all the small common words extensively. You learn grammar, because Hubbard rewrote grammar and invented a few terms. Linguistics is a huge part of the Scientology mind control. And then life orientation course was where you're supposed to establish like your goal and purpose in life through various different steps. So I was in that. So I would, every staff member at that property was required to study 2.5 hours a day. So when they would go to do their 2.5 hours a day study, I was part of the team that was supervising them on those studies. Supervisor is the Scientology equivalent, really, of a teacher. It's not the same as a teacher, because you're just following the steps, but yeah, there you have it. So,
Yeah,
and you were on the night schedule originally.
Yeah, but the supervisor pretty much just guides the students to try to just keep them doing their check sheet of actions, their little checklist of actions.
Right.
Yeah, for that pretty much the entire time, up until our wedding, I was on the night schedule. I worked I would come in at dinner time on a bus. At 5 o'clock, I would arrive at the property, and that's when dinner was. We would eat, and then right after dinner, I would either go to work, or I would go to do counseling, or you do what's called study time at night, and then you work. Then we would work from basically 10 o'clock all the way until 8 o'clock the next morning. We'd have a midnight rations at midnight, and then we'd usually have maybe a little snack on the way out. That everybody else's breakfast would be our end of the night snack, and then we'd go to sleep from, let's say, 9 a.m. ish until 3 or 4 o'clock. Get up, get ready, and then do that all over again. So,
yep. But because you were on the night schedule, our paths didn't cross that much when I first arrived.
Yeah, dinner time.
Yeah.
The only time I would see you would be at dinner, or because during the early 1990s, there was a very big push from David Miscavige, who is the captain of the Sea Organization, Captain David Miscavige. And he had dictated that everyone had to go to study every single night, because there had been Sea Org members that had been in the Sea Org 20 years, and they hadn't even done any Scientology courses or any Scientology counseling, because most Sea Org members in most locations, if there's a crunch in the schedule, the very first thing that does not get done is Sea Org members doing Scientology courses and counseling. That's the very first thing that's sacrificed is, okay, you're not going to do any of that. You're going to do some more work. So this had been very, very heavily happening throughout the entirety of the 1980s. And so then there was a big push in the early 1990s that Sea Org members should do counseling and they should do all these things. Anyway, there were 2 courses that everybody had to do at the international headquarters. There was no exceptions. You had to do these 2 courses. And those 2 courses were the Key to Life and the Life Orientation course. And they took forever, because if you're looking up 10,000 words in a dictionary and going through every single one and looking in these books and doing all this stuff, it takes a long time if you're doing that for 2.5 hours a day. Also, a lot of times on no sleep. You haven't slept the night before, or you're not sleeping a lot. Even if you are going to sleep, you're not sleeping. If you got 6 or 7 hours of sleep in the Sea Org, that is insanely high. That's like a lot.
Yeah.
Just between travel time and you have to get your uniform ready, and sometimes if you don't have that many uniforms, you might have to wash your uniform that night and get it all dried up and ready for the next morning, or have it set out to dry so in the morning you can put it on and walk in with it. So I was on these courses and Claire was the supervisor, so I would see her for a few hours a few days a week if I had to go on the course and study, because she was one of the people that would kind of walk around and make sure nobody was sleeping. Or
if somebody yawned, go over to them and be like, let's do a spot check, which is where you just randomly like start asking them quizzing them, like, what's the definition of the word obvious? And then when they say the definition wrong, you say flunk, and then they have to read from that point. They have to clear the word and then read from that point forward. It was laborious, to put it mildly. And you reminded me, by the way, that the Key to Life course, when you're not just looking up small common words in a regular dictionary. There was a dedicated book that had been produced that was literally like 4 inches thick. And you had to go through that entire thing. But during the time you were on the Key to Life course, you were not allowed to read any other materials. You weren't even allowed to look in a normal dictionary. You had to only use those materials. It was bizarre.
Yeah. So I wasn't trying to turn this into a Key to Life.
I know.
But because I had to do these 2 courses, and because they take months and months and months, and because there was a very heavy push on all Sea Org members going to study. If you didn't go to study, you wouldn't get paid. So there was a thing where basically there was a list of all the people that hadn't studied for the week, and that would be given to the payroll officer, and your pay would get docked. So not only did you sort of have to go and do it, if you just were like, well, I'm not going to do it, I'm out of here, then you wouldn't get paid. And we were being paid. Remember when I said we were working 100 hours a week? We were being paid $46.28 a week, because we were getting paid 50, but they had to take taxes out of that. So we would get $46.28 a week, and we would get it in cash. So it'd be 2 20s, a 5, a 1, and you would get the 28 cents.
I never did.
Well,
I didn't get the 28 cents.
Well, that's because later on, they would have a thing where you could just donate to the birthday fund with the 28 cents. so that the payroll officer wasn't having to handle all these coins as well as cash. It was just that goes into the birthday fund. And if somebody had a birthday or something, we were supposed to get pizza out of that. I don't remember, in the history of the 15 years that I was there, remember anybody getting me a pizza out of the birthday fund, by the way. I don't know where that
Yeah, no, me neither.
I don't ever remember that as a real thing. I remember the 28 cents was going somewhere, but it wasn't going to pizzas for me. Anyway.
It was more appropriately the payroll officer's slush fund, I believe.
Yeah. Anyway, so regardless of all that, I spent many a night hanging out in the course room. And when you're doing a course with somebody, you say some stuff and they watch you while you're reading to make sure you're understanding it. There's all this stuff you're supposed to be watching for. And if they stumble while they're reading or any of these things, then you have to tell them, okay, you got to go look up a word. Anyway, when you're sitting with somebody doing this for hours and hours, and a lot of times the other person's buried into the dictionary, you basically don't have anything to do. So I would just be clocking this hot little redhead floating around the room while this guy that I'm with is supposed to be looking up words in it or whatever it is he's doing. Anyway, so I got to notice her over the while, And then I want to say there was a New Year's event. It was a New Year's event where we all had a New Year's off. And
Yes, that's right.
the
That's
New
right. So
Year's
we went
Day.
down to LA. Yeah. Yeah, we had gone down to LA because and we went to the Shrine Auditorium.
No, you're mixing up stories right now. We had a
No, I'm
day off.
not.
And
We
yes,
were
we
at
are.
the yeah.
No, you're skipping ahead. Listen, guys, I got the memories here. We went. They had the day
Sorry,
off
I'll
on
I'll
New
prove
Year's.
to you afterwards that I know what I'm talking about, but
We
I'll let you keep talking for now. Go right ahead.
we had actually it was Christmas that we had a day off.
No, I was gone for Christmas that year.
Well,
So
there was a
we're
day
now
off.
in
It was
December 1991. The day off was New Year's Day
yes, there you go.
of 1992.
And
Yeah.
you and your friend came over to my dorm, and they were looking for a
Yes.
guy that I used to hang out with, who Claire had also had a little thing with as well. And
Which
they were
ended in a motorcycle crash. But
yeah, and
yeah.
they were looking for that dude so that he could take them to
And
the movies.
right, because we had basically 5 hours off and we wanted to go to see a movie at the movie theater in Hemet, but we were not allowed to go by ourselves. So we needed an escort. And of course, my friend had a crush on your roommate, this guy. And so that's how we ended up at your door saying,
Yes.
can he come? Is he here? Can he
Yeah.
take us to
His
the
name was
movies?
Darius. Is Darius here? I said,
Yep.
no. Oh, we wanted him to take us to the movies. And I'm like, I'll take you to the movies. Wait, what movie you guys want to saw? Anyway, so we slept through, I think it was Star Trek 6, I want to say. If you can, anybody can
Yeah.
get out your Google Fi. What year was this? This was 1992, right?
Yeah,
1991,
it was
1992.
January 1992. Yeah,
Yeah, so
January 1992.
whatever Star Trek movie was floating around, we slept through that movie. Like, I don't
Yep.
remember a single frame of that movie besides some end credits
No.
because I fell asleep during the previews. Okay, I fell asleep during
Me
the
too.
Coke and popcorn advert. Okay, I
I
didn't even
mean,
make it
duh, you put any Sea Org member in a dark room, and
in
chances
the
are
comfy chair.
more than 50% of them are gonna fall asleep.
Yeah.
Oh my
Anyway,
gosh.
so
Oh, there you go. Apostate Alex says, Google says it was Star Trek 6. Yes, there you go. You're right. Thanks,
skadoosh.
Alex. We
Anyway,
appreciate it. Skadoosh.
yeah. So
We do not recommend the movie, by the way. I mean, no offense to Star Trek fans, but we slept through it.
yes. Okay. So then after that, then we kind of were on each other's radars after that. And then we started to hang out at meal times, like just hang out and talk or whatever. And then there was a March 13th event that was in Los Angeles.
No, it was May 9th. It was May
May
9th.
9th event that happened later.
Yes.
And on the way down, we rode on the bus together. And on the way back, it's a 2-hour bus ride to Los Angeles, and it's a 2-hour bus ride back up. Anyway, and so we got to know each other a little more during those times.
Through the
And
process known as holding hands.
yes. Okay, now I have to tell you this, guys. In the Sea organization, you are not allowed to have any sort of relations unless you're married. So anything more than a little kiss or a little hand holding, that's it. And as soon as somebody sees somebody getting a little frisky, everybody's ears go ching, everybody perks up a little bit, and it's like extra attention on these ones, because if you have any sort of, if any parts touch any other parts, if any hands touch any parts, if any parts are interchanged without clothing, and even if there's clothing in between, it's a very easy RPF assignment. And the RPF is the Religious Rehabilitation
Project Force.
And it's basically the Sea Org's prison. And if you go to the RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, you most likely will never ever come back to the international base. If you go to there used to be a Rehabilitation Project Force at the international headquarters, but they disbanded it. And then you would actually be sent to another location, and the likelihood of you coming back is very minimal. Now they just kick them out of the Sea Org. If anybody does that, they just get rid of them. They don't even mess with it. But some of these people that are you got to understand, some of the people that have been at the base, it may have taken them 20 or 30 years to rise up the ranks of Scientology to get to that place. So some of these people have been in this. Some of these people have decades worth of knowledge about the Sea organization and how it works and all this other nonsense. And so at the end base, it kind of was a little weird on things like that, because some of these people may have done something, but it was like, we really need that person too. So sometimes they would mess around. But if you were a nobody, you're going to the RPF. So we were young.
And for context, we're teenagers. So this is very strict rules for teenagers. And this, what we're talking about here is the reason that many people in the Sea organization get married very young, and why divorce is very rampant in the Sea organization.
Yeah, exactly. And people will get married, and then they'll be together, and then one of them will go to the RPF, and then that girl will get it. The husband will go to the RPF, and then the wife will just get a divorce, and she could get married right away to somebody else next weekend. And it was sort of like, it didn't really matter. If you were a boyfriend and girlfriend for a long time and you weren't married, one of you was or both of you was either ending up on the RPF or just getting kicked out of the Sea Org, because everybody knew it's going on. We just got to catch.
Yeah, and you would be subject to frequent interrogations on the e-meter, demanding to know what nefarious physical activities you've been up to. I mean, nefarious, of course, I'm being sarcastic. It's normal human nature.
So I want to say after that May 9th event, it was like, oh, we gotta seal the deal here, because anything further happens, we're going to be in the RPF. That's basically that happened. We got to that point by May. So then we tried to get married. My sister, who was younger than me by a year and a half or something like that.
She's the same age as me.
Yeah. So she was getting married in June or July.
July.
She was going to get married in July to her husband, Tom. And I think he'd already been in at least one or two marriages already. And he was maybe 5 to 10 years her senior.
Yep. That's right.
And
we were going to do a double wedding.
That's right. And
originally,
my sister worked in Golden Air Productions. Her husband worked in Golden Air Productions, and both Claire and I worked at Golden Air Productions, all as Sea Org members. Okay. Right. Claire's parents wouldn't sign off on Claire. And because she was 17 and I was 19, in order for us to get married in California, her parents had to approve it. And also, because I think they had to sign some paperwork. And
I don't know about that. I think, my mom, whatever. She really had no control over me. She'd already signed over guardianship of me. But out of respect, I wanted her to, give her, go for it.
Either way.
And of course,
sign off.
No, but hold on. But no, it was worse than that. Because remember, we should cover this part of the story. I just remembered. So my mom said, well, you should ask your dad. And the joke there is, he's not my dad. He's my stepfather. He did adopt me when I was 10. But she would always shunt me to him when she didn't want to say no to me, because he then would say no. And so then I told Marc, well, I have to ask my stepdad, and I need to go get approval to go visit him to do that. And you were like, well, I'll go by myself, because I couldn't get approved to get off work. So you had a day off,
I was able to get a liberty. because I
Yeah.
basically couched it like, hey, um, I'm getting married and I got to go meet this gal's parents. And so I need to go down to Los Angeles for the day. And my statistics were up. I was doing pretty amazing. I want to say that this also happened not too long after I was being counseled by Tom Cruise. So I sort of was getting a little bit extra special treatment because Tom Cruise had audited me and I couldn't go sideways. Like they didn't need me to go sideways. They needed me to keep me happy because that was going to be a problem if Tom Cruise's pre-clear was getting mixed up. So
Yep.
so I was able to go on Liberty and I was able to go down to Los Angeles, and there's a van that drives between the international headquarters and Los Angeles several times a day, and it's called The Run. So if you needed to go to Los Angeles, then you'd have to get up at a certain time and get to the property to be able to get onto The Run. And sometimes if you knew the person who was going to be driving and you knew where they lived, you might be able to leave, get in the van at berthing, and then just go to sleep in the van, and it would just go all the way. And then you just wake up 2 hours later, like in a time machine. Anyway, so I went down to Los Angeles on The Run, and I think her parents, I want to say her parents just picked me up from somewhere in LA. And then
Yep.
we hung out all day, or I got a ride there or something. I don't even remember how the logistics of how it all worked out, but I essentially spent the entire day with her family and her little brothers, her brother and her two sisters. And I slayed it, guys. I got that. I could have that. Her mom would have signed anything. I could have just put whatever I wanted in front of her. She would have signed off on it. Anyway, so then we got it okayed, but this was now too late for us to be part of the wedding of my sister and her husband. So our
Yeah.
wedding was going to be at the end, like the third week in August, and we were going to have it in
Yep.
Los Angeles because my family lived in Los Angeles. Besides my dad, who was not involved with Scientology, he lived in Nebraska at this time. And so my father would fly to Los Angeles. Claire's family lived in Los Angeles, and my mother lived in Los Angeles. So it was just like, we're going to have it in Los Angeles. So we both had, in order to do that, we both had to get special approval to leave the property for 3 or 4 days and go to Los Angeles and get married. And that took months, like from May to August. Like I want to say we got the approval like the week before, or maybe even
Yeah.
later. Like it was days before the wedding that we actually got approval to have a wedding and and be able to leave the property and go to Los Angeles.
Right. Because so we had to put together what's called completed staff work, or CSW. That had to be approved by approximately 6 people.
At least
As
all the
part of
way up
that,
to the commanding officer of the Golden
yeah,
Era Productions organization.
yeah. And it had to include that we would say how our positions were going to be covered and by who in our absence. We had to have our statistics up, and we also had to have finished a sec check, a security check, or
On
also
the
known as
e-meter.
an interrogation on the e-meter, that was called a leave of absence sec check, in which you would it was like, gosh, I think like 20 questions, including like, are you going to talk to anyone who's against Scientology? Do you have any plans to try and escape? All like just, and I'm sure that they added questions to like, have you been up to any nonsense with Mr. Marc over here?
Oh yeah, it was
Yeah.
basically a little mini interrogation of, you're not going to do anything when you leave, and you haven't done anything now that when you get out of here, you're going to be like, oh, forget it, I'm not coming back, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
So we got through
Yep.
all that. We got everything approved. Now my mother, I don't, I'm gonna say, this is what I'm assuming happened, because we didn't send out invitations the people that we
Nope.
knew were going to be coming were our family. We didn't have, and no one we couldn't invite any of our friends at the international headquarters, because then they would have to do all those same steps to be able to
Yep.
leave the property to come with us. And there's no reason to do any of that nonsense unless you're unless you're the person who's trying to get married. You're not going to somebody.
Yep.
I think there was a few people that we got approval from, like we had to do another separate proposal where we need these people just to come on the run in the morning, be there, and then come back that night. And then there would be other international based Sea Org members with all these people so they could kind of keep an eye on each other. And that was the
Yep.
Reverend, the guy who married us, the minister who married us. We had to get approval for him to come. And then my sister came. And then I don't think anybody else from the international headquarters was there besides those two people, my sister and the Reverend. If there was, we'll point
I
him out.
think
If
yeah,
there
I think
was,
there
we'll
was a couple of other people who happened to be in LA for some reason and who came, but it was not like,
they
yeah, I
didn't
mean, we
really
had no say in who was going to be invited. It was handled by your mom and my mom.
Yeah, they
Completely, like, they didn't even ask us who they were.
yeah,
They
we didn't. Well, first of all, we didn't do anything on the wedding. Nothing. Claire had to try on a
Right.
dress, and I had to try on a tuxedo. That was it. We didn't make any of the plans. We didn't set the menu. We didn't pick the venue. We didn't pick the music. We had nothing to do with anything. We showed
Mhm.
up for this wedding that was ours. Okay. That's how much like, I remember getting there and being like, so where is it going to be? Like when we
Right.
got there, like, so where is this thing going to be? Where do we have to go to this? And it was sort of like, it's funny now that we've been to other weddings and we've seen, like, I think I attended one single wedding before my own wedding. And that was my cousin's weddings that live here. And it was the year before our wedding. And that was the only wedding I'd ever been to, I think, in my life. I can't remember
Well,
what.
we went to Stephanie's wedding,
Well, okay,
remember?
yeah, my sister's wedding, but that
Yeah,
was the month before. But I'm saying I
like
don't
real
think,
world weddings.
yeah, I don't think I'd ever been to a real wedding in the outside world. Yeah, a Sea Org wedding,
Mhm.
you'll see. It's very I mean, that's good enough for us to do it, right? We can show it now. So we'll get to the wedding.
Yeah, I
And
think so,
you
so
can say what happened afterwards after the wedding.
okay, perfect,
Okay.
yep.
Okay, guys, this is it. We're gonna do it. Let me see if I can if it plays. Okay. We turned the audio. We'll turn the audio down because it's not
Yeah,
really.
the audio is awful.
The video was shot by my mom's friend who used to be the apartment manager of our building. And so I want to say my mom, because my mom knew both of the AV people. So she arranged to give us this video of our wedding and hired a photographer, a Scientology photographer to take pictures. Okay. So that's me in the middle. That is a Sea Org member from Celebrity Center, and that was my dad on the corner. That's my mom in the blue dress. I don't know who that person that just walked by is. Those are some people that
That's
I used to.
I know who she
Hold
was.
on here.
Her name was yeah, her name was Kira. She worked for my stepdad at the Scientology mission in Beverly Hills.
Okay, let
So
me
she
just
was
back.
a friend of my family, basically. And
Okay,
there's
so
your dad.
that's my dad. That's me in the middle, and then that's a Sea Org member from the Celebrity Center. So our wedding took place at the Celebrity Center in Los Angeles, California, and they had just renovated it so that there was a garden, a glass garden pavilion out here. And then this whole area here used to be called the Gully. And it was basically a giant drainage ditch that was left over from a long ago stream that used to run through this area. And I used to play in here as a small child. I lived right across the street from the Celebrity Center as a young boy. And so I used to actually play in this thing called the Gully. And I ended up getting uh, 6 or 7 stitches in my leg in the exact spot where we got married, like 10 years before that. Anyway,
Hmm.
so so that's my dad. That's a Sea Org member. Is it playing? Yeah, okay, good. It's playing.
Yep.
And then That's my sister right there that's just turned around. That's the Kira
Holding the
woman.
bouquet of
In
flowers.
blue is my mom, and those are some guys that I used to live with when I was a kid in Hollywood. That was Paul Schobel's wife, Kathy?
Kathy.
Kathy
Yep.
Schobel. And the Paul
Right
Schobel.
there on the right. Pause it for a second. Yeah, pause it right there. Okay, so the woman with the dark hair on the right, that's Maria Ferrara, who still to this day, to my knowledge, works at Celebrity Center and handles a lot of their public relations type matters. And that, I believe, is her daughter that she's sitting with.
So they're both in the Sea Org. I
Yep.
don't know any of these people that are sitting in those chairs. Not one single
Yep.
person.
Yep.
There was a lot of people here that were either your family's
Yeah,
friends.
those people with the little boy were friends of my mom and my stepdad.
This is a very high quality wedding video, by the way, as far as
Yeah, just be grateful you're not hearing the sound. We'll fill in for you.
Okay, so here
The
is my
sound is
dad.
absolutely abominable.
Here's my dad and my mom and my brother Jet in the middle there, the little guy, and then my mother's boyfriend Dan. And then there's a
Yep.
whole seating area of people that we don't know. That's me, the lady, the Sea Org member from Celebrity Center. Oh, this is a great part. I'm going to be like, oh, let me look. I'll put my glasses on. Let me see this. And I go to put my glasses on, and there's no lens in there. There's like the lens had popped out. I'm like, oh, great day. Great day for looking at something. Okay, there's a whole bunch of people we don't know. There's my brother. Okay, now this is like the Munchkin Brigade in here too, because the best man is my brother, and was
This
my
guy right
sister.
here, Jet.
My sister was your maid of honor,
Maid of honor. Yep.
and that's it. That's the wedding party. That's it. Her other
Yeah.
little,
Well, yeah,
her
my
little brother
siblings.
and her
Yeah, you'll
little
see my
sister.
siblings come out. They were part of it too. But yeah, I think the minister was by a long shot the oldest person
And I
in
was the
standing at
second
the altar
oldest
when
at
we get to that
19.
part. You were the second oldest, then
That's my
Stephanie
sister
and I, and the
Stephanie.
rest were kids.
My sister Stephanie. She's the maid of honor. That's me. And then that's Paul Schobel, the minister. Now I'm going to tell you something. It's August. This took place on August. Is it 22nd is when this was?
Yep.
August 22nd.
22nd.
That's Joan. That's the Scientology photographer. She comes into play much later as in a crazy story.
Yeah.
So it's hot as hell. It's in Los Angeles, in the city, in Hollywood. And that's Joan, the photographer. And it's about, I'm going to say it's in the 90s, at least in the 90s. Okay. There's all getting ready. There's my brother. Okay. I don't know if they put music on. Let's no music yet.
No, they didn't start it yet.
Is that Darius?
Maybe. Yeah, I think.
it
Oh,
might
yeah,
be
it
Darius.
is. He was there. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember that now. He was there.
Okay, there's my brother. He's going to be the best man, and he is going to not cooperate throughout this entire wedding with anything that anybody wants him to do at any time they want him to do it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, how
He's
old was
got a
he? Like,
ring. He's got a ring to give and a toast to give. And that added an extra hour to the wedding to get him to do those two things. That's my brother. His name is Jet, Jett. He's a half brother. We have the same mom, but his dad is the dude, the tall balding head, and my dad is the other dude right there, the one standing next to my sister and my mom.
yep.
Okay, and is that Claire's sister? Is that your sister Becky right there hanging off something?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So in the flowery dress, that's my youngest sister, Becky, who is there. All three of my siblings are half siblings, same mom, different dad. And I raised these kids as if they were my own. Like I looked after them from noon until midnight, most days of the week, from when they were 2, but for Becky from when she was 6 weeks old. So there's my mom in the blue behind your mom.
Yeah, and my mom is the one who picked all this music, and she had a giant lady heart on for the Robin Hood soundtrack. So I think just all the songs were from Robin Hood with Kevin Costner.
Yeah, Bryan Adams. I remember that that song was definitely prominently featured And again, not by our choice, but we had very limited time. This is my brother Robbie coming
Okay.
now with
And
the
he's wearing a
rings.
ring too. Yeah, he's the ring bearer, and
Yep,
Jet was the best man.
that's right. Yep,
Yeah, and then that's your sister Kirsten there on the stairs, just about to come,
yep.
and Becky's just about to come with her. And then they've got the Sea Org, the Celebrity Center Sea Org members are the ones wrangling. So when you have a wedding at the Celebrity Center, Scientologists have weddings there all the time. And they actually use this for fake weddings. There's a TV show, I can't remember the guy's name, Patrick. He was in the show, The 4400. He was on some other show, and him and his wife in the show got married in the exact same place we did here at Celebrity Center.
Oh,
So Scientology
didn't know
rented
that.
out as a shoot location as well. And so you just tell them we want to do a wedding, and it's just like a package thing. And they go, okay, we'll do it by the fountain, and we'll do drinks for 100 people. And oh, by the way, drinks in Scientology, that's Martinelli's apple cider. That's what's in those glasses there. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, no alcohol.
No alcohol.
This is my little sister Becky.
Yeah, right now we're hearing everything I do it for you.
Yeah, Catherine said everything I do it for the Sea Org. LOL.
Yeah, this
It's
is
about
August
right.
1992, guys. So I don't know
Yeah.
when Robin Hood came out, but I do know that if I was anywhere near my mom and her car during those years, then we were listening to some Robin Hood soundtrack.
Yeah.
My mom was a big fan of soundtracks. That's my sister Stephanie, and she just got
my
married
maid of honor.
a month before at the exact same place.
Yep.
Okay, and then it's gonna go pretty quick here, guys, because this is a Sea Org wedding. We're not messing around with a lot of nonsense here.
No, and we'll circle back around and just kind of give the exact timeline, because I think it's impactful to do so. So here I am with my stepdad, Hugh Witt. And just for context, I think it's worth mentioning that this man is the person who was named in the defense of the Danny Masterson trial to counter my expert witness testimony. This man walking me down the aisle. Process that.
And that was Joan who walked in front of I want to keep making sure everybody keeps their eyes on Joan, because she comes up later on.
Yes.
And, somebody said, why wasn't alcohol served at your wedding? Once a witness. Because in Scientology, if you drink alcohol, you're not allowed to get any Scientology counseling within 24 to 48 hours of that. It's a kind of a rule in Scientology that you don't drink alcohol or do any kind of drugs or medical drugs before you get counseling, because the Hubbard.
Yeah. Yep. Let me address this. Freya
Sure.
Mind says, how can staff afford a wedding, a dress, etc.? Do you have to pay for the venue? So my mother paid for the venue. My grandmother from England had sent me a wedding gift of 200 pounds. And that's what I used to buy that dress.
Yeah. And I rented a tuxedo for $99. And that was all my pay for that wiped out.
And your dad Bernie loaned us $400
to buy the rings
and took us to the jewelry district in downtown LA the night before to get rings.
That's right. So we really maybe saved up and spent $100 or so to a few $100 or so to pay this up. Okay, now listen, this is the great part. Okay, so remember when I said it's August? So this whole time that me and the minister, Paul, we've been standing out there for like an hour in the hot sun. So we're dripping by this time. And Paul is wearing a very light blue collared minister shirt and these gray slacks. And as part of this ceremony, it's called the 2-ring ceremony.
And yeah, pause it when you've explained this part, and because I'll read the section that's happening there. We're not going to read the whole. It's called the double ring ceremony, but this particular part is worth mentioning.
Yeah. So there's my brother. There's me. And there's Claire. And there's Paul, the minister. And there's my dad in the background on the off to the side between Claire and my sister. And then my stepdad or my mom's boyfriend, Dan, is over there. And then there's Claire's brother, Robbie. Anyway, as part of this ceremony, the minister is supposed to hold up these rings in the air and say, imagine, if you will, a triangle that forms between these rings. Anyway, but when he lifts his arms up, he has about 72 gallons of sweat dripping out of each of his pits. Okay. And you can see he's already starting to get a little drippy in that little waterfall, back crack waterfall starting to fire up in the back there. But as soon as he lifts up, the only thing I could think about is, you've got to be kidding me, because we can see him right there, but that's what everybody else behind us is seeing, is just seeing a dude who is perspiring in front of us. He might even expire with the amount of liquid that poured out of him. But we're trying to get the rings out.
Trevanon says, we don't want the details, Mark.
Trying to get the rings out of Robbie there. We did that. Boosh, right there.
There we go.
It was like,
and wait till it zooms in on our faces, and you'll see we're like,
me, I'm
oh
like,
my gosh.
Just hold your cool, Mark. Don't do it. Don't do it. Just keep it cool. Keep it cool.
I'm like, look away, look away.
just we're gonna power through this. It's funny. Yeah, look up at the rings. Don't look at those sweaty pits. Just look up at those rings. Not any of those pits. Yeah, don't look at the pits. Yes, everybody else can see those pits, but we're not going to focus on that. It's not going to ruin the wedding. They're shooting the video from behind. No one will ever know about the pits, the sweaty pits. Yeah, it was horrible. It was so horrible. It was literally like, this is embarrassing. This dude is really sweating it up. Now we're gonna trade the rings here. Yeah, I told him, he asked me some stuff. I told him back some stuff. There you go. There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I still do. 32 years later, I'm still doing it. Yeah. What about you? Yeah. Here we go. She's going to do it too. I was 19 years old at this time. I just turned 19 in May, and Claire was 17 in this picture. 17 and 19.
Yep.
He didn't have a suit jacket because it was 100 degrees that day, and he would have melted for sure he was dripping with just a regular shirt. And I don't think he had it. I want to say he didn't even have an undershirt on. He had his little dog collar thing under that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So yeah, it's pretty good here. Let's see. Yeah, here it goes. You guys are gonna see it. Oh, a jackpot.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so now here's a crazy story, guys, while we're listening to this. When we left, Donna W just said, how are you able? Hey, show it. How are you able to keep a copy of this? I know that you blew with just a few photos. Well, after we escaped from Scientology in 2005, January of 2005, I did so with the help of police. Yay, the wedding happened. There goes. Now we're going to do this. They actually sent us a whole bunch of bankers boxes of stuff. And
which we'll cover that story in more detail another day.
That's a whole
other craziness.
But we got a bunch of boxes of stuff.
Summary to say, the short version is that of our belongings that they did send to us, which we received 3 months after we'd escaped. So we did get most of our belongings back, with a few important exceptions. One of them being our wedding video that allegedly had just vanished. I asked Kirsten 6.0, also known as Kirsten Catano, several times. I demanded our wedding video, and it was just lost. Yeah. So we did not have this until 3 years ago, an extended family member passed away, and it turned out that my mother had sent this person a copy of this video, and
Yeah.
that's how we have it today.
That's right. Well, as part of the deal, the person who filmed this for my mother as part of our wedding gift was to make copies and send it to all the different family members. So we did get a copy, but a bunch of other people. That is definitely Darius, by the way. Oh, and that's Chris Courier, and that's Michael Coleman, and that's Lauren Igo.
Wow.
These are all students that I knew from Delphi. My mom must have invited. I did not even remember that those people were there. We should have put up a little thing to say of all these people who've done hate videos against us. That would have been fun.
Yeah.
But
Well,
keep it
we can
it
focus
positive.
on that during the photo section when we get
Yeah.
to that part.
I was going to say we could keep it positive and not go into that. Claire's like, no, we're going to light them up in later in the video.
No, we should. It's, you know what? It highlights the evil practice of Scientology disconnection to just show how many of our family members are pawns for OSA right now.
Yeah, and the other funny thing is that the videos that some of the videos they talk about us being evil before this.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, so then there was a little reception afterwards. I mean, this is pretty much real time. Okay, there's not a lot of editing that went into this video. This person was pushing stop and record. That's the editing we got. And then yeah, so all the food, whatever this was, our parents paid for it. Ooh, that's Carrie. That was KJ in that picture right there.
Oh, really?
Yep. And
Wow.
so this is
I did not
the
remember
line
that.
afterwards. Most of these people in this line I am meeting for the first time. I've never met them. I don't know who they are, besides my immediate family, Claire's immediate family, and I guess a few of those friends that came from Delphi.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the fountain down there. That's actually right where I got those stitches, was in that exact location where I was standing, was where I punctured a giant hole in my leg and had to get stitches. There's my brother taking some pictures. We're going to actually see these pictures. Now, this is another crazy story. The woman that my mother hired to take the pictures was a Scientology photographer that I used to work for 4 years, maybe 3 or 4 years before this. In 1988, I used to be her assistant. And when she would go to photo shoots, I would carry around this little step stool for her and another camera bag or something. And so I actually worked for her and made money as a kid when I was living on my own. And then she ended up being the photographer at my wedding. And as whatever the deal was that my mom made with her, she gave us 25 photos from how many hundreds of photos she took this day.
Well, yeah, and actually Vanessa Belmain in the pink dress right there had
Yeah.
said that her wedding gift to us was going to be to pay for these photos,
Yes.
but then that never happened. And so I think it was like 3 weeks after our wedding, we received like 30 snapshot, like 4x6 printouts of some of these photos, and we were told, oh, yeah, if you want the rest, it's going to be $2,000. Well, as we've covered
Yeah.
extensively, we would receive $46 a week if we were lucky. And $2,000 was absolutely impossibly out of the question. So we never got any
We
of
never
the
got our
rest of the
wedding
photos
photos. We just had,
until
well, we had 25 4x6 or 4x8 or whatever it is pictures of the wedding. That's it. That's all we ever had of our wedding. When
yep.
this happened years ago, I don't want to say exactly when. This is just my mom hanging out with her friends, and the lady videoing this is one of her friends. I don't know any of these people at all. Um, anyway, a few years ago, by the way, when we left Scientology, um, I wanted to find out if we could get a hold of this woman and get all those pictures, but she had passed away. The photographer, Joan, her name was Joan Tortolo, and she had passed away. So the photos, the negatives, they were gone forever. No one's ever going to find those. This woman shot for many, many years as a photographer. I doubt there was even any way anybody would know to find how. I don't even know how you'd get those photos at this point. I don't know what her filing system was, if it was by dates or projects or whatever. Anyway, a few
And by
years.
this time it was 20, at least like I think 24, 25 years later.
Yeah. We got one day we got an anonymous envelope that was all of the negatives that photographer shot at our wedding. Some
How
26
crazy is
years
that?
prior to that. And that we to this day we don't know who it was. They didn't give us any there's no return ad. It was just an anonymous letter saying, I think you might find these interesting, and here you go. And it was just all of the negatives of our wedding. So now we have all the pictures that the woman took that day.
It was
And
mind-boggling.
we're gonna show
Absolutely
some of
mind-boggling.
we'll show you some of them at the end of this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is the part where he's just supposed to say, hey, ding, 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 and give a toast. He's the best man, so he has to do the best man toast. Anyway, this just goes on and on and on. He doesn't really. I mean, look at the sun right now. Okay, that's how long this goes on. It's almost sunset. It's almost sunset. And also the camera changes angles like 47 times because he looks like he's just about to do it. He's got the spoon. We say you just tap that, and then you say, hey, I'd like to give a toast. And then you say, yippee yippee ki-yay, or flippy dippy ding dong, or whatever. And he just could never do the tappy tap tap part to then do the next part. And people are like, hey man, this is Martinelli's. We're not like, this is not really that serious of a toast here.
Yeah, like nothing crazy is going to happen here.
Up, drop the fork or the spoon. That's done. We got to do that. Your brother picked it up. He's like, I think I'm going to take this. This looks like
this is what you get for having children as the wedding
He's like,
party. But that's okay. They were cuties.
Don't mind me. I'm just gonna ding. Oh yeah, I'll do it. Here, look, bitch. Poof. I'll smack it. Like, no, you're supposed to do it. I don't know who was like, this is like, I don't know. I didn't know any of the things that were going on. So I'm just like, why are we doing this? He's not gonna do it. And and everyone's like, no, you have to do this. There's certain customs that you have to do, and this is one of them. And it's like, well, if the best man doesn't want to do it and he doesn't understand it, and then we could be here all night. Okay, now remember when I was saying it was sunset? Yeah, the sun has gone over. Okay, now it's after that. Okay, there's lights are coming on. Okay, lights are coming on. And everyone who knows my brother is trying, that's his dad, trying to say, hey, do this and this and this. And he literally, every person who would tell him something, he would look at them and he would smile and then do nothing. And he's pouring it. He's like, let me do this. And people, this is the way it's been back here the whole time. The whole time.
Oh my gosh.
Like, is this kid gonna do it? And yeah, it never stopped. Oh my God, is that Dave Pettit right there? I don't know who that is standing there, but I think he was like a big is he gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Oh my God, he still didn't do it. People are already like, I'm taking a sip. This is ridiculous.
They're like, we're out.
Yeah, and then he finally does it. There he goes. He just says, have a wedding, everybody. That's what he ended up saying, I think. Here, we'll see. We waited for all that payoff. Let's just see where it you gonna do it? And my sister just said, have a great wedding, everybody.
Yeah.
Anyway. So
Kevin asked if there's a way to clean up the audio.
No,
this is the cleaned up audio.
Yeah, I had to set up a render cluster in order to render the audio effects on this, and even then it was abominable. There's a giant street that runs right behind those palm trees and those bushes over there, which is called Franklin Avenue, and it is a major thoroughfare in Los Angeles, and it was moving. So there's cars, just thousands of cars driving by right over there, and then there is a super 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 loud waterfall that's right next to where all this is taking place. So all you hear is traffic and waterfall. That's it. So it's too
Yep.
many frequencies of that are all the same to get rid of any of them. So yes, there you go. Now we cut the cake. It's getting dark. We had an extra 45 minutes on the toasts activities, so things are off schedule. This was
Oh,
I think this was
that's Steve List in the background holding my sister.
awesome. I think this was supposed to be like this was all supposed to take place at sunset. The cake cutting and the photos and all that stuff and the toast jackknifed everything. We did end up taking a bunch of photos right after the ceremony before a bunch of this. And I think a lot of the photos are during that time.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, this is just a bunch of more people that we don't know. And then some of our family. There's a lot of, I do now that I'm seeing this again, there's a lot of Sea Org members from Celebrity Center and that might have worked at the Imp base, who might have been stationed in LA on a project or something, that are kind of floating around in this stuff here. And then also some of those people from Delphi, Los Angeles, that I went to school with. And I think some of those people had just graduated or were just graduating from Delphi, and I'm getting married. So some of them were still in school when this wedding took place, that I was in the same grade as, or the same grade with. So yeah.
Proto Man asked if there were any celebrities at the wedding. Definitely not.
No, there was no.
No.
At this point, the only celebrity that I knew was Kirstie Alley and Tom Cruise, and there was no way I would have had any way to invite them or any facility to invite them to my wedding from some rando Sea Org member they met a few times.
I had met John Travolta at Celebrity Center, but he was not there that day for sure.
Yeah, and this is not a Sea Org. In the Sea Org, even that we had that we were doing a wedding and we were doing it in Los Angeles and we worked at the Imp base was not normal. It was not a very routine occurrence that something like that would happen. If you got married, a normal wedding that would take place at the Imp base would be doing some paperwork and getting a marriage thing. And if you wanted to, like after dinner one day, you could have a bunch of people get together and you could do a little quickie ceremony, and then that's it. You're done.
Yeah. And so let me just give a timeline real quick. So Thursday, 8 p.m., we left the headquarters and we went on the run to Los Angeles. Friday morning, you got your suit rental. I got my wedding dress. Then your dad drove us to downtown LA and we got our rings.
To the jewelry district.
So Thursday night is when it started. Yeah. Friday, we got the dress, we got the suit, we got the rings. Friday at around 6 to 7 p.m., your dad, Bernie, drove us both to Las Vegas. We got there around 11 p.m. and we went to the courthouse. And by midnight, just before midnight, we got our wedding license. And then they told us, oh, do you want the short version or the long version? And we said the short version. So we went to some random minister in brown pants in some shady chapel in Vegas.
Office right there in the courthouse. They have a little thing and they just go, no, they do a little thing there. But then we went to a chapel after that in Vegas, right?
Yeah. But also this is like, Friday night at like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. That's the end of the video.
Yeah. Guys. There you go. And then we went and got some pizza, and your dad drove us back to LA that Friday night. So we got back to LA around 6 a.m. So now it's Saturday. We got a few hours of sleep. I went and got my hair done at Sheer Perfection, which was the hairdresser right by the complex, the big blue buildings in Los Angeles.
Yes,
And
sheer
then we went to
perfection.
Celebrity Center. What's that?
I remember Sheer Perfection. You know,
Yes.
that woman who I want to say the woman that owns that is not a Scientologist anymore, but she still
She's not.
has that thing right there. I don't know if it's still there. They're still are open, but
I think it is. I
I want
think
to
it
say
is.
her
I'll have
name.
to look.
Is it Lynn? Is that her name?
Yes. Yes.
Lynn from Sheer Perfection. It
Yes.
was a long time ago.
Anyhow, so we left Thursday night, Friday all day. We got the clothes, we got the rings, we drove to Vegas that night, got the license, did the ceremony, drove back to LA. Saturday was the ceremony at Celebrity Center that we've just shown you. That night, my mother had paid for us to stay one night in the hotel at Celebrity Center. And then the next day, Sunday, I had to go back to work. So that was our timeline.
Yeah, we had, it was hours basically. It was hours from when we left the property to when we had to come back. We had to do all of that in about a 2-day time period and get back. And when we got back, now if you're in the Sea organization, if you get married, so up until this point, Claire lived in a dorm with some other females, and I lived in a dorm with a whole bunch of other males. And the way that the apartments were where we lived in Hemet, California, we both lived at what was called the Kirby Gardens on Kirby Street in Hemet, which is about a 15-minute bus ride to the international headquarters. And we had, trying to think, we had my room. The way the apartments were laid out was there was 2 bedrooms and a living room. And usually there was 2 people or 4 people in each bedroom. And they shared a bath, and they shared one of those rooms sometimes had its own bathroom in it. And then there were 2 or 4 people in the living room. So you could have a 2-bedroom apartment that may have up to 16 people in it. And on a good day, there was only 2 people in each room, and you'd only have 6 people in there. So you'd only have 5 roommates sharing 2 little teeny bathrooms, the teeniest of teeniest bathrooms. And so I think I want to say I shared my dorm with like 4 or 5 other people, and Claire's dorm was 4 or 5 other people. There was one girl who had just escaped like a week or 2 before we got married that lived with Claire. So there was only one.
So we had an open bed. So we had at that moment, I was in one room that had its own bathroom with 2 other women, and then the other room that had the hallway bathroom usually had 3 women, or maybe it was 2 women, I can't remember, and one of them had just escaped. So you got real creative. Oh, and we had been told before we went on the wedding, by the way, that there were no available couples birthing. So we'd have to go on the wait list.
Yeah, and there were many people on this wait list that were married but didn't have a room together, so they had to sleep in separate places, and they weren't allowed. If you're a female, you're not allowed to go into a men's dorm, and vice versa. There's no intermixing. That's like, no way. You're not, like, you stand at the door, literally. If you went in, it would be like, whoop, big trouble. Anyway, so we got back she had to go back to work on Sunday. So I was like, well, I'm just going to go up there and I'll get our stuff ready. I'll figure out what we're going to do, where we're going to stay. And
Marc was going to have none of it being on no wait list. Believe me.
Didn't Kathy Medina escape a few weeks ago? Wasn't that her name? Or Laura Medina? Was it Laura? Laura
Kathy
Medina.
Albert.
No.
Kathy
It was
Albert.
Medina. No, Kathy.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, Dave Medina. It was Dave Medina's ex-wife who was the one who blew.
Okay.
Or somebody blew. Okay, how about that? Somebody that lived in Claire's birthing had escaped and left. So I just took the girl that was in her room and moved her into the girl that blue's room. that
The
escaped.
2 women.
Or 2 women. I think I moved one into the living room and one into that other room. Like when they left that day, they didn't know they were moving. And when they came home that night, they done got moved. And so I had
Which
now
became the topic of a fair number of knowledge reports, mind you.
yes,
Not
because
from either of us.
remember how I told you it's illegal to go into a female dorm if you're a male and vice versa? Well, I was living in a female dorm now. So there was one bedroom of a female dorm that was a couple's room, and then there were 4 women or 3 women that were in there. And I argued, no, this is not a female dorm. This is a couple's dorm. There are females living in a couple's dorm. And the thing I knew is that there was another girl that lived in that apartment that was just about to get married. So I said, if you move those other girls out and move the guy in, I just created a couple's dorm, and you can boot the girl in the living room out as well. And then that way we don't have to deal with any of that. And
Yeah,
so
Mark's
that,
like, "You can thank me later. I just shrunk your wait list with ingenuity driven
and
by
that
need and
And
necessity."
that is exactly how it went. They moved the other
Yep.
girls out, and the girl that was about to get married just stayed in her room, and then when her husband and her got married, he just moved in, and I was like, "You're welcome, everybody. Thank you very much." And I actually there was a lot of yelling and screaming and people losing their mind, but, in the end, uh, nothing happened, and we had a room when she got off work that day, we had a room. So, I was a
Yep.
busy little bee that day. Okay, now,
Yeah, you'd even jerry-rigged a surround sound system, like an early days surround sound system under the bed,
yeah,
remember?
yeah, it was very, very, thrown together. No, there was no, official, stickers on this thing. Okay, so, should we show those pictures now? So remember when we said we got those pictures?
Yes.
Let me just get it in, viewer mode here.
And the pictures we're gonna show you, these are the 30 that were the ones that we originally had. These are not the negatives, but the ones that we physically had that we then, got high-res scans done of them, so to clean them up as best as we could. But yes, we're ready.
Cool. I
All
don't
right,
know
so
why.
that's my sister, Kirsten. Huh?
I'm not sure why it's doing it like that because that's not what I have up there. Let me
Oh,
see if there's a way to,
you're on 7, FYI.
7. 7. Oh, you mean picture 7. Yeah, no, I don't,
Yep.
it's, figuring it out here, guys. Here, I'm just gonna put it up and we'll just go through it however it, is it going through? See, yeah, see, this is not what I have. Here, we'll do this again, guys. Sorry about this. We're, having a little, I thought it had it all figured out.
BTs activate.
Ah, there it is. Now I got it. Come on. Yeah, I think it took so long for us to get to this. It didn't know what to do. Okay, so this is that's Vanessa Stoller and
Yep.
her
She's
associate or
she's my she's my sister's godmother. And weirdly, she used to be my stepdad's fiance, but whatever. She's you didn't know that. She's married to Michael Stollers, who's a lawyer that does Scientology's dirty work. And the woman on the right is Kira, who was staff at the Beverly Hills Scientology Mission, which was just the small franchise that would bring in new people.
Cool. Next, that's
Okay. Vanessa.
You.
And again, I don't understand to this day. I don't understand why she's in this picture and not my mother, but whatever. It is what it is.
That's true. There's no
Again,
pictures. Well, maybe we haven't gone through them all,
well,
but
there are later. This is my stepdad. That's Mark's mom in the middle with Bernie on the left
my
and
dad.
Dan on the right. Yeah, Bernie, Mark's dad.
The tall guy is Dan, and the shorter guy is my dad, Bernie, and that's my mother in the middle, Trudy or Gertrude.
And Bernie is the only immediate family member that we have not lost to Scientology.
Yeah.
He
Though
lived
we
with
did
us
lose
for
him
a
to
long
cancer
time.
a few years ago.
We did, yeah. But he is the only immediate family that we had.
If you've read
Everyone
my book,
else
That's where we went when we got out. We went to where my dad lived in Lee Summit, Missouri.
Yeah. And so go back for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
So from this photo, Marc's mom in the center, she's featured on the hate site and has done hate POW videos
Oh,
against
that's right.
us.
And
Yep.
yeah, we'll bring up anybody else as we go.
Yep.
That's Paul
Okay.
Schobel and myself.
Paul
And I don't know
Schobel,
who.
rest in peace.
Yeah,
He passed away.
he was a very cool dude that worked at the international headquarters. This is the guy that we had to get approval to come down and do the ceremony.
Yeah,
He
and he
also worked.
had kidney disease, I think. And so they shipped him back to Australia so that he could get free health care there, and that's where he passed away.
Yeah. That's your
This
sister?
is my sister, Kirsten, who has disconnected from me since 2005. She's now married, and I think she has 2 children as of now. This is Becky, my youngest sister. Becky has disconnected from us. She's married, and I think she has 2 or 3 children now.
That's my brother Chet. He is he's like a middle-aged dude now, I guess. And he also is disconnected from us. He lives, I want to say he lives in Florida, last I heard. He's a computer something technology guy.
All right. And then, so this is Kirsten on the left, Becky in the middle, Robbie on the right. Robbie has also done a hate POW video on behalf of Scientology. That's on our Scientology tax-exempt dollars funded hate site.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about that is this is the last time period where he really saw Claire for any amount of time. I mean, over the years, he might see her for a few hours here and there, once a year or twice a year. And somehow he had enough information based on his extensive knowledge from when he was a toddler.
Yeah. I mean, he was, yeah. So when I joined the Sea organization, Kirsten was 6, Robbie was 4, Becky was 2. Just for context.
There's another picture.
Okay, that's Kirsten, Robbie. And again, this is my stepdad.
Did he do a hate
me.
video?
My stepdad has also done a POW hate video. And as I mentioned earlier, he was going to testify on behalf of the defense in the Danny Masterson trial to counter my expert witness testimony. He did not end up showing up, which is good because he knows absolutely nothing about the inner workings of Scientology. He never even knew physically where I worked for 14 years.
Yeah, right across the street from the picture back there. That's Franklin Avenue. You can see that used to be that. Looks like there's I don't know what kind of restaurant that is that's there, but that used to be called the Wine Room. And on the corner there used to be a really cool place called $2 Bills back in the late 70s. And then it was Radion. Then it was a whole bunch of things, but Radion and $2 Bills were the coolest places it was in the last 50 years. Okay. There you go. A little bit of Hollywood history there for you. You know what's really funny is, so this is the woman up on the top of the stairs. That's the woman, Janet, who shot the video for us as a present. And the girl that's back there, her name is Emily, and Emily was being the assistant for the photographer holding the stool and the camera bag, is what the job I used to do for that same photographer, whatever, 3 or 4 years before this. There's Hugh, hate video Hugh. And then there's Paul. Now you can see what he looked like. Oh my gosh, is there a picture from this angle of the sweaty pits?
I don't think so. Not that you can see. I don't know. I think I'd remember if there was one. I don't think so.
Okay, so
probably the person taking the photo from that angle.
It is. You can barely see through Claire's veil. The photographer has cleverly disguised sweaty pits on my side with me, but on Claire's side, I bet you in those negs we could pull up. We gotta get those negs processed, scanned, or whatever.
Yeah, we do. We do.
Okay, and then there we are. It's about to happen. We're about to get in there and get some of that. And yeah, look at my brother. He's like, dang, man. And then here's Claire with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice picture.
Yep. When I was a wee
That's Claire's
lass,
mom.
my mom.
Hate video. Done hate video, right?
Yep, definitely.
Their hate. That's there. Both
There's
of those
Claire.
things.
Both of them have done hate videos. Yep.
Ay, ay, ay.
But you know
That's a
what?
good
That's
picture.
why I'm here today. So,
Look at that, everybody. Just look straight at the camera, babe, and smile. No, smile with some teeth. You got to match that one. It's pretty good.
okay. Well, I'm like, it's been a minute, honey. It's
Look just the same to me, babe. There we are. There's all my classmates, my former classmates in the background. My dad right between us. There you go. This is much higher quality than the video.
video.
Yeah,
This gives a better idea. I'm still glad that we have the video,
yeah,
whatever. But
it is. What it is.
okay, so here we have Bernie on the right. Trudy has done hate videos.
Yeah, and then that's obviously that's us in the middle.
Yep.
I know people are like, that's not how I expected Claire's mom to look. Yeah, no, Claire doesn't look anything like her mother. She has there's a whole bunch of Irish in there, and Claire got the full brunt of it. Okay.
Yeah, well, and I have, my grandparents are both from Cork, Ireland. They moved to Manchester after World War II. And but when I was 2 is when my mom and my dad divorced because of Scientology. That was the first time I experienced Scientology disconnection at the age of 2. And I have never to this day known my father. So, but I have, seen pictures of him, and I don't look very much like him either, I don't think.
Okay, there's
There
a
you have
picture
it.
with your parents, and
Yep.
then
So
there's one
2
with
more hate
Kirsten,
videos.
Nikki.
Yep. Becky and Kirsten, that's okay. I'm not going to say that out loud. I love
They
them
didn't.
dearly. I hope
They
the
didn't
day,
do
I
any hate
know
videos. They didn't
they
do
did
any hate
not.
videos.
Knock on
But your
wood.
brother did. But your brother did. That's
Yeah.
wild. By the way, a wild thing. When we were married, Claire's parents lived in Los Angeles, in a suburb of Los Angeles called La Crescenta, and they have since moved to Clearwater, Florida. And I want to say that your brother also lives in Florida, but Kirsten and Becky do not live in Florida. They both still live in California, I think, or up north.
That's right.
Northern
That's
California.
right. Becky is a dog trainer, and my sister is a physical therapist. Yep.
And there is the picture. And I want to say, I bet there's probably half the people in this picture that I do not know. I did not know them, or I met them at the wedding for the first time.
Yeah, so I know some of the names we haven't mentioned is Debbie and Al Marsh. Debbie Nunez is in the middle. She worked at the Beverly Hills Mission. And Beth and Bruce Settle, who were very wealthy dentists that my stepdad got into Scientology. They're there too. But yeah, other than that, I don't know. There's a lot of people I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost there, folks. We'll do some giveaways at the end of this.
Yes, thanks for bearing with us. I'm glad we finally got to do this.
I know, it's a long time coming. We've been talking about doing this for months, it seems like now. Okay, I think we're coming to the end now, because it's all the good shots of me. This is the sunset.
Yes.
So we're able to get some like golden hour / sunset pics here. That's a pretty good picture. I think that's a pretty good picture of me.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And you, of course, you look great in all these pictures.
Oh, thanks, honey.
Oh, look at that. That's a nice one. Look at that.
That's one of my favorites. I love that picture.
Yeah. 19 and 17.
There you go.
I think that's it. Let's see.
What a ride it's been, honey.
Yep. Yahoo. Okay. Awesome, guys. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the little bit of the let me exit out of this before sorry, it's just gonna blow out my lighting over here.
Nancy Rhea asked, are your Scientology relatives forced to do hate videos? Yes, they are.
Well, the way it works in Scientology is if they need you to do something and you don't do it, then you become the new target. So they have this thing in Scientology where if you want to stay in Scientology, or if you want to be able to keep talking to your family that are in Scientology, you have to play along. But there's an additional thing that kind of Claire's parents and my mother are involved with, which is they are some of these people that are trying to get up the operating Thetan levels, these confidential levels where you learn about the body Thetans and Lord Xenu, and how to exercise the space alien cooties out of your body. In order for them to be able to find out what that is and to get to those levels, they have to not be connected to any suppressive persons, and they have to prove to Scientology that they are hardcore dedicated and they're willing to throw those people away in defense of Scientology. And so my mother and my sister and Claire's stepfather and mother are all in that category where they either want to keep good with Scientology so they can still talk to their Scientology business and family and friends and all that, or in the case of Claire's parents and maybe my mother, they want to ascend to the higher space cootie levels, and in order to do that, you got to do a hate video, and there's no way
Yep.
around that. If you want to, if basically they think that you may have done something wrong, or that you may be up to your own nonsense, or you were having thoughts about leaving or whatever, as what they call amends, you have to,
Making up the damage, which is part of the ethics, the lower ethics conditions. So in order to remain in the group of, meaning be able to talk to your kids and your friends and your husband or whatever who's in Scientology, you have to go through all these steps, which includes making up the damage. And very often participation in these videos is required before they'll let you back into the group.
yeah, or let you continue on the operating Thetan levels. So
Right.
you can't really mess around if you want to play. Oh, and the specific steps of the condition, the lower condition formulas, one of the steps is make up the damage you have done to Scientology, and that usually can be a hate video, or that could be any kind of amends project, picketing a psychiatrist's office. But then another thing is deliver an effective blow to the enemy of the group. That's exactly
Despite
verbatim.
personal danger. That's paraphrased what it is. Deliver an effective blow to the enemies of the group despite personal danger.
Yeah. So doing that is one of those, that's a possible thing that would fulfill those steps.
Right.
So yeah, wildness. Okay. Let's there's a few
And
comments.
we should note we have very intentionally never watched those videos. So
Oh yeah, we only know that
yeah.
these people have done hate videos because mainly my dad. My dad would watch all those sites because that was the only way that he would be able to see a current video of my sister, and also where she's
Yep.
made up and she looks really good because they need the people to look good in the video. So my dad was sort of like, well, that's the only way I get to see your sister is in those videos. So I was sort of like, well, I don't, what am I going to say to that? Like, eh. But every once in a while he'd watch a video and then he'd come, and I never watch that stuff because, guys, listen, everybody knows what their part is in the world, and you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution. And most people know which part they play. And so these hate videos, they're sort of the toxic kind of like part of the problem. So I don't need to be involved with that. I'm not going to watch.
No, and we are the target audience. And
Yeah,
also
they're
when we
doing them.
started
That's
speaking
exactly
out
right.
about
They're doing them for us. They
that's
want
right.
us to see them. Anybody, and that's really something that everybody should fundamentally understand is when Scientology is doing these hate videos, or when people are talking trash or whatever, and it's toxic and you can just see it's like, oh, this is horrible. Like you made a video of this. The audience for that is you. And they want you to think that that's what other people think about you. And that is Scientology in a nutshell. Everybody in Scientology doesn't want other Scientologists to think bad about them. They want to stay in the club. And in order to stay in the club, you got to talk trash about the people that aren't in the club. And
they also want to make it brutally painful for anyone to speak out and expose Scientology, which we knew when we entered this space back in, 2006, 2007. I started in 2008. We knew it was going to be hard. We knew that they were going to try and destroy us. And, we
yeah,
have nothing to hide. We're here to stick it out. And so long as the Scientology is committing abuses in this world, we're going to keep on talking. End
sure.
of
I mean,
story.
we're humans, guys. We would rather people like us. That's a human thing. But if people don't like us, you can't let that influence you and run your life. People have different lives and they have different situations. Let them do what they're going to do. I'm doing what I'm doing. And if they don't like it that I'm trying to help people that are escaping from Scientology and get their lives back and reconnect into their families, I mean, that's sort of like a weird thing to hate on. So it's sort of like, okay, live your best life, man. If that's how it works, that's how it works. There's a Depeche Mode song called Peace, and one of the lyrics is, there's no space for the regrets I will remember to forget. And that has
Mm.
always stuck with me. There is no space for the regrets I will remember to forget. That doesn't need to be in my world. Scientology nonsense about that. I would rather have fun talking about them here, because that is the thing that kills them the most, is that people watch this. And we have a podcast, the Blown for Good podcast. We just hit a 500,000 downloads on the podcast, which is pretty good for a podcast that's been around for a year and a bit.
That's a part-time hobby on the
Yeah.
side outside of our day jobs and our kids and our lives.
So thank you for everybody who's listening. Shout out to Sydney. Shout out to Australia, where we have some of our biggest concentrations of people in one location or one city for some insane reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would love it if the Scientologists didn't have to do hate videos about us and all that. But I understand the predicament they're in, and until they get out, you got to do what Scientology wants you to do. So
Yeah.
I think we should get to questions, because otherwise we could talk about craziness
Yeah,
all day.
we've already we'll run through some questions, do some giveaways, and wrap it up. And we're glad you came. Hopefully you
Okay.
enjoyed this. Like I said, it's been in the works for a very long time. All right, Trevanon, big list at 3,279. Awesome. And I think, Trevanon, that you're referring to the list of everyone who's spoken out against Scientology. Bravo to every single person who has survived, and even more so, gotten out of Scientology. And if they've chosen to speak out, then hats off to you. You have our greatest respect for what you do. I only participate in the giveaways so I can do a giveaway. All right, there you go. Awesome.
Yay.
One love, 51,000. Wow, 10K. Super proud of you, Claire. Thank you so much. Yes, it was really good. I'm so glad I did it.
Yeah, but
It was
let's not forget,
beautiful.
I made French toast and bacon. Okay, that was pretty
Yes,
amazing too.
it was amazing. Thank
I
you for taking
literally,
care of business while
when
I ran 6.5 miles.
Claire got back, I was like, well, we had quite a morning. You ran a 10K. I made some bacon and some French toast on the griddle. It was a really good morning overall. Okay.
Yes.
Once a witness, Jehovah's Witness.
Witness.
Claire's, you want to read it? Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Question. Claire and Marc, did you know Kirstie Alley? What do you think of her passing from colon cancer? I'll let you go first on this.
Sure. We both knew her. I knew her from when I was getting my counseling from Tom Cruise, my Scientology auditing. Kirstie Alley was in the same room studying as like a prop for the most of the time I was there. But I also met her at an event when she was part of the Narconon Scientology drug group. That's how Kirstie Alley got into Scientology, because she was a drug addict. She did mountains of cocaine, and in order to get off doing that, she did the Narconon program, and that's how she and then from Narconon they get you into Scientology. And so there was some sort of Narconon fundraiser that was being done from the organization that I used to work for before I went to the base, ABLE, the Association for Better Living and Education. And she did one of those things, and we met there, and I got pictures with her. And then Claire knew her. Go ahead, Claire.
Yeah, I had various interactions with her when she would get brought to the headquarters along with Lisa Marie, several other celebrities, and I was part of that. But anyway, there you go.
Awesome. And it's
That's it.
sad that she had cancer, and there's a lot of
It's
Scientologists
so
passing
sad.
away
Yeah,
from cancer.
it's so sad. And that is very common. I was thinking about this the other day. We knew more people in Scientology who died of cancer than, like, by 100 times easily than what we've seen since leaving. And a huge part of that is because any illness, anything, it means you're a potential trouble source and is dealt with that way. Very often the medical attention is neglected, and the Scientology programming is just like, oh, I'll do my handling and yay, I feel better. And proper care, medical care and attention is poo-pooed and made not a priority. And that's why tragedies like that continue to happen.
Yep.
Becky Lunn, question, Claire, Greenfield School, East Grinstead are no longer allowed international students and are financially suffering. I heard that. I personally was at Greenfield School for 2 years. I know of a lot of the illegal activities that went on there, and they deserve to lose their funding. Also, many of those international students during the time that I was there ended up joining the Sea organization. So if this ends up protecting children and preventing them from joining the Sea organization, then so be it. It's about time.
Yes. Okay, good. Sorry, I was there we go.
That's okay. Once a witness. Question, do a lot of Sea Org members marry by the time they're 18? Yes, they do.
They do. If you want to do the tube snake boogie, you got to be married. That's how that works.
What's the other thing you always say? There's no test driving in the Sea Org.
You don't get to take that thing off the lot. You got to pick one and hope that's going to be the one, because no test drives. That's right, babe. Good thing. I like that. That one's better.
And rampant divorce. Okay, Kinders, I'm from Pennsylvania. Awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, there was
Nancy Rhea, hi from Las Vegas. Oh yeah, we tagged a bunch of location ones. New York, Gally Sinatra. Thanks for joining us. Okay, Mrs. T. Rush, not a play on words. I was born and raised in Clearwater and moved to Pasco County. City name is Spring Hill. Okay, totally my bad. I misread the comment. So, Trevanon, are we going to have the story about holding hands in the bus? I'm all for it. Oh my gosh, I remember that conversation. That was I about near died.
This is a good one.
Derby, who dictate excuse me, who dictates what work a person does, or is it up to you to stay busy of your own volition? No, every Sea organization member, and actually even every staff member, is assigned a post, a job. They have a title, and they have exact defined duties that are most of the time covered extensively by L. Ron Hubbard as to what they're supposed to do, what they're responsible for, what their statistic is. And there's an exact schedule down to the minute of exactly where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing at any given time in the day from 8 a.m. until midnight. And the ethics officers will come around and inspect to make sure that you are doing the duties that you've been assigned.
Well, you have a statistic, and you have to have the graph of that statistic posted in your workspace, and it has to be updated every single hour of every single day. So if you're making widgets and it's 2:30, you need to know exactly how many widgets you've made so far this day. And if you're not making as many as you're supposed to figure it out. So by the end of the day, you made more widgets today than you made yesterday. And that's the way the entirety of the Sea Org and Scientology organizations are supposed to be run. It's if you
Yes.
want to talk about
And
micromanagement,
every single staff member also has to have a battle plan for the day, which lists exactly what they're going to get done, also known as a BP. There you go.
yes.
Philip Jones, or even if they hesitate in answering about the definition, you get to redo the materials. Yes, this is hearkening back to our conversation about courses and training and studying Scientology. If you flunk a word, you very often have to redo the whole thing. Apostate Alex, same on basic study manual, which is where you learn L. Ron Hubbard's study technology. I got literally to the last page of that thing and flunked a star rate on a 2 or 3 letter word like as or the or something, and had to retread, which is to redo the whole thing. Oh my gosh, Alex, that's awful. Philip Jones, when our daughter was sitting a bit close to a young man and her senior in Scientology ordered them to get married. Yes, exactly. There has been a ton of that. Like, yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's
This is a
crazy.
good one too.
Charlotte Arrow. Question: did people get in trouble for getting divorced? I'll let you answer this one.
They
Nope.
don't. No, they don't. It's so
In fact, they're very often encouraged to get divorced. I was being pressured by David Miscavige on, I don't know, at least 50 times to divorce Marc and Shelley Miscavige. And eventually that's how I ended up in the hole, which is, at the imp base where, they had all of management executives on lockdown. I was put in the hole in September of 2004 because I refused to divorce Marc.
yeah.
There
There
you
you
go.
go. That's craziness. That is so wild. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oh, there's a cool one. Warrensburg, Missouri, near Lee Summit. Hey, later day ain't. Oh, it's even a super chat.
Latter day ain't. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. I like the username too. Proto Man. Does the Sea Org have no shame in having their members live in virtual poverty? I'd be embarrassed if people who worked for me were barely scraping a life. Yeah.
They don't,
Good point.
it's sort of in the way Hubbard's teachings are, the way the policy letters are, is that if you are concentrated on things, like if you're thing oriented, then that's sort of a lower life form. If you have to have things and you have to have money and be able to do whatever you want and pay for things, that's very, very frowned upon within the Sea organization, because we're supposed to be doing a job and we ain't got time for none of that nonsense. So when people complained about pay, it was sort of like, hey, we didn't get paid. Okay, get over it. And yeah, it was.
That was referred to as worker oriented.
Yeah, and if you read my book, there's all kinds of stories like toilet paper. Sea Org members would hoard toilet paper so they didn't have to spend money on it. So anytime the bathrooms in any of the Sea Org buildings or facilities were stocked, within an hour they'd be empty because the Sea Org members would go in there and go to the bathroom and just take the roll with them. So it's like,
Yep.
that's a normal thing in the Sea Org, to take a roll from the bathroom when you leave so you can bring it home, so you've got some toilet paper at another place as well.
Right.
Yes, wild.
Dr. X, congrats, 32 years. Claire hasn't aged. Oh, you're too kind. Well, did you eat well that day to get married? How many people did you have to get to sign off for you to actually get the day off? Normally, did they expect you to go back to work right after the ceremony? Great questions. And yes, okay, so breaking this down, did you eat well that day? I don't remember particularly eating. I remember we had the cake. I don't remember eating any food or any dinner or anything. I just
I don't
remember.
even remember that I don't think we had a dinner. I don't think there was like an
I don't think there was a dinner either. There was definitely no rehearsal dinner.
Yeah. If there was a dinner, there were no photos, there was no video, and there were no memories, because I don't
Right.
know that happened. We may have, You know what? I think we got room
But
for.
as we mentioned, we got back from Vegas at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we were running on like 3 or 4 hours of sleep on top of everything else.
Yeah.
So if we ate, we don't particularly remember it. The cake was good. I do remember that part. So thanks, Mom, for that cake. But can you pull it up? Because there were other parts of that question that I missed.
No, it's gone.
Oh,
It was
shoot.
started and then I
Okay.
unstarted. Oh, I'm so good.
Oh, there we go. Saved by Mark. Thanks, honey. To
Just
get
ask
married,
me,
how
I'll
many
tell you.
people did you have to get to sign off for you to actually get the day off? So basically the whole chain of command above you up to the commanding officer, which was the equivalent of the CEO. And then on top of that, you had to get sign off from security and from the ethics officer and from the person who did your interrogation, your leaving, your leave of absence sec check. So yeah, between 6 and 8, because we were both low in the organization. So I remember I had at least
That sounds
6
about right.
people on my chain of command. Yeah.
At least that many.
Yeah, and then okay, normally did they expect you to go back to work right after the ceremony? Yes, they did. People that got married on the property, they would just get married and go straight back to work. Like Katie
Oh,
Feshbach
100%.
was a
Yeah.
good friend of mine, and she got married at that property. I zipped down for 10 minutes, and I think I even got in trouble for going to it. And
Yeah.
then she got married, and we went back to work. So yeah, that was how it normally went.
Yeah.
Because we were going to LA, we just happened to get 2 days instead of 30 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're gonna rip through these, guys. I'm gonna try to get to
Okay.
as many as I can.
To love and going the distance. Thank you so much for the super chat, Gretchen Philly. We appreciate it. Road to Freedom. Hello, late to the party again. Happy 32nd anniversary to you both. What an achievement. And thank you for sharing your personal pics with us. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate it. And thanks for watching. Freya Mind, $1 for each of these 5 knuckleheads who disconnected, made a hate video. Boom. Thank you. Very meaningful. Appreciate it. Shay Anderson, in your sec check, were you forced to lie? And if yes, how did you do it? I mean, we had only slightly bent the rules, I think. And so, Mark would just think about Depeche Mode and, whatever.
That was my go-to
There you go.
for my whole entire Scientology existence was whenever you're getting an interrogation on the e-meter, think about I went to a concert. It was in Pasadena, California. It was at the Rose Bowl. It was Depeche Mode's 101st concert of their Music for the Masses tour. It was called Concert for the Masses, and I was front row center. And if I listen to any song off that album, I get goosebumps. And if I think about it really good, I can put myself back there. And so I would just think about that when I was getting Scientology interrogations, and I would pass them with flying colors. So any Scientologists out there that are watching this video and you're going to end up in a sec check, just think happy thoughts. You'll be fine.
Yep. Happy thoughts. Okay, Dr. X. So those that attended your wedding and were at INT, did they have to get permission to go to your wedding? Yes, they did. And
Yeah.
most of our friends did not come. It was very, very difficult to get off that property. So, just didn't happen.
Yeah, there
you
was
go.
I think there was 2 people. It was my sister and Paul
Yep.
Schobel that we had to get there, and everybody else either was already in Los Angeles or they weren't in the Sea Org, or our families invited them, and they were just whoever they were. They didn't have to do that. They weren't having to get approval to come. Oh, there you go, Casey.
Cassie, congrats on your anniversary. I know this was bittersweet for you, but thank you so much for sharing it with us. Thanks for understanding that. Yes, it is very definitely bittersweet. I just hope for the day that our family will wake up and get out. But in the meantime, we're enjoying life, continuing to do what we do, and treasuring every moment with our own children. Lulu Baru. Thank you for the super chat. Congrats on 32 years. Not many people can say that they've been married this long and survived a cult together. Boom.
That's
yes.
true. That might be a double whammy. The 32 years is pretty good on its own, but being in a cult together as well.
Yes.
That's some wild. wildness.
I give huge credit and kudos to Mark's sense of humor. You know,
Catherine
and you're,
Baxter,
of
babe.
course, yeah, anyway. Catherine Baxter. Question: was Dan Cricini at your wedding? I knew him in New York. I don't think he was.
He
We
wasn't.
did know Dan Cricini.
I worked
Yeah,
with
but he was not.
he
Oh, yeah.
worked in the
Yeah.
manufacturing area. He was the finishing officer. So after we made cassettes, cassette tapes, L. Ron Hubbard lectures on cassette tape, we made millions and millions of these things, and they never sold them. We ended up having to erase them all and sell them at the end of the day. But Dan Cricini would put them, they would label them with paper labels, and then later on we used ink, but they would label these cassettes with paper labels, and then he'd put it into a little J card, and that into a cassette case. A Norelco is what it's called. He put that into a Norelco, and they'd shrink wrap them, and his post was the finishing officer, the AV manufacturing finishing officer. That was his official post title. So I have no idea where Dan Cricini is now. He was long gone by the time we left. I want to say from the Ant Base, or he wasn't, he might have been in Los Angeles or somewhere else. I don't remember what ended up happening with him.
Pete Jensen TV. Thank you for the super chat. To a happy 32 years and more of marriage. Put this towards the $2,000 for the pro photos. That's amazing. Thank you. Yeah, we'll have to see if anything good or revelatory comes from those negatives. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right, Skank Hunt 42. Have you both now passed the moment where you have been out of the cult more than the time you were in it? Sadly, no. I was in from birth to age 30, and in January, I will have been out 20 years. So I'm at 30, almost 20 as of right now.
But you have been married to me longer than you've been involved.
I know. Yay. Which is the silver lining in all this. All right. Spikers B, say, what happened to your wedding dress, Claire? Great question. I sold it, and that was the $200 that I had in my purse the day that I escaped, and which funded me getting to the bus station.
Did you sell it to Suzanne? Suzanne Widmer, right?
Suzanne Widmer. Yep.
You sold it to Suzanne Widmer for $200, and that's the money you used to escape. It all comes back around, folks. I'm telling you.
Yep.
Okay. I think we're good now. I think we're going to do the giveaways because we are now at the 2-hour mark, folks, and that is a long video.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And we've been yapping here forever. So let me just make sure that I can do this here. If I've got all the stuff set up. So what we said was, if you type in the hashtag BFG into the comments, you will be entered to win the giveaway. We are going to do how many giveaways?
5.
Okay, let's do it. Here we go, guys. We love doing giveaways, by the way.
Oh, hang on a minute. Before we do that,
you could just
I don't remember how I was supposed to do I'm supposed to announce the usernames from the last week's.
Yeah.
Okay. So at Baker on a Budget, congratulations. You commented on last week's video. You win a giveaway. Shoot me an email, claire@blownforgood.com, CLAIRE, and send me a link to what you'd like, and we will take care of it. Number 2 is at Natalie Sherling 970. Congratulations, you're a winner. Okay, we're ready now.
Okay, good. Here we go, guys. We're going to draw. There's 87 entries so far of people that put in here. There's 780 people in the video. So, oh wow, even I almost got a win. What would P. Langton?
P. Langton, congratulations. And just a reminder, P. Langton, please send me an email with a link to what you'd like from either the BFG merch store or the SP Shop merch store. We'll include links to both in the description of this video.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, we're ready. So that's...
It's going.
We said 5, right? Perfect.
Yeah, that's 1. Well, that's actually the third one.
Yep. Betsy
Betsy Sue.
Sue. Yay.
Oh, you
There we
guys, it's
go.
just a matter of time. I want to say Betsy Sue's won before. I want to say that she has.
Well, that's okay.
I'm just saying. No, I'm
Even
just
if she
saying that
has.
you can win more than once with this new system because
Yes.
no bias involved whatsoever. I'm hitting a button on a website saying draw. Okay, that's my
Yes.
my total involvement.
The anticipation of the slowing countdown drives me a little
It's the
nuts, but
best.
that's okay.
Lord,
Laura, wait.
there you go. Is this the last one,
Okay.
or was that the last one?
No, we do 2 more.
No, we did 2 at the beginning for last week. Remember?
No, I know, but I had already factored that into my calculations.
Oh
Remember,
wow.
we talked about that Dr. X did
Oh, that's
a
right.
huge
Forgot. Yeah.
donation for this, and so this all makes it all work out. Thank you again, Dr. X and Dr. Paul. You're amazing.
Yeah.
JLBB57,
Oh wow.
congratulations.
This person got a comment read and they got a win. I mean, it's just winners over here. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah.
full-time winners. Okay, one more, or is that it?
Yes, one more.
Okay, this is it, guys. This is the last one. Shannon, you almost get that. There's 2 times I saw Shannon's name in there.
Oh my goodness. Hey, Shannon. Trioni, congratulations. You are a winner.
Yeah, winner,
Okay,
winner,
awesome.
Xenu
We did
dinner.
it. Winner, winner,
Winner.
Xenu dinner. Boom. Good one, apostate Alex.
By the way, for those of you who are
There we
wondering
go.
why we did hashtag BFG this week, is because I really thought the Hail Xenu thing was hilarious, and I thought it would just be fun, and that's what we could always make it. YouTube does not like it when a video has a whole bunch of people in it saying hail anything. YouTube starts to flag those. So a whole bunch of hail Xenus actually got flagged, and I had to go through and say, no, that's what we told everybody to say. Anyway, yeah, so we're not going to hail anybody in the hashtags from now on. So, but I hope you
Yep.
guys had fun. We had a we had promised. I want to say when we either tracked down the video and we had it digitized or something, we said, oh, we should show that. And then we just never got around to it. So because this was our 32nd anniversary just passed this last week, we thought we should do it now. It's our anniversary. We managed to make it here for 32 years doing this thing. So let's show the video from day one and tell some of the behind the scenes stories. And then you really could get an idea. This was not the most normal Sea Org wedding, but you know, it was at a Sea Org base, a Sea Org location on a Sea Org property put on by Sea Org members with Sea Org members. I mean, it's about a Sea Org, and it was on video and picture. So a perfect storm of super, super rareness. I don't think I've ever seen another Sea Org video, Sea Org wedding video besides my
Yeah,
sister's, but I don't think I've seen one
right.
out in the wild. Like there's
But
2 or
most
3 pictures
importantly,
of
right, but
Shannon and
most
David.
importantly, by miracle of miracles, our marriage, despite all odds and as a statistical anomaly, survived all that. So
Yeah, that's true. It is
congrats,
definitely a
honey.
perfect storm of a whole
Thanks for
bunch of
putting up
things.
with me.
Well, everybody knows the truth here, okay? No one's pretending that I'm putting up with you, okay? Everybody's
I
like,
like to
"What?"
say it anyway. It's
Yeah.
okay.
People thought people thought I was getting
He had
snarky.
to listen, guys. He had to call me sir and Mr. Headley for long enough that you know what? We're here, we're living life, we're enjoying every moment of it. If he gets a little salty sometimes, doesn't bother me one bit. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Cher gets Claire gets her share of salty as well, but she usually doesn't do it while we're in a video live,
No,
okay?
definitely not.
Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. We
uh,
appreciate
yes.
everybody who hung out today.
Oh, hold
Oh my
on.
god.
Before we
Yeah.
go, we do have to say we have a fishing trip scheduled next week. So
Oh, yeah,
we
it's
will
true.
not be here next Sunday, but we'll be back after that. And we might have a special guest. We'll finalize that anyway. So more to come.
Yeah, either way, we'll have a video for you guys somehow, some way. We hope. I hope, but it won't be live. But we have some amazing stuff that's coming up. We have like I want to say we have like 4 or 5 things that we've been working on for a while, and they're all sort of kind of starting to show up and hatch and be ready. And so we have a lot of very cool stuff that's coming up that's really going to be sort of amazing. And so we're just trying to get that done as well as do these. And we've kind of figured out a good happy medium where we just do 1 or 2 of these a week, and if we can, we'll do a live one on Sunday. Some of you guys are like, why do you do it? We're trying to do it when it's good for us and when it's good for you guys. So this seems to be a kind of a good sweet spot of all those things. So, but we are going fishing next week. So we're not going to do any videos from the lake or from the river or from wherever it is. We end up putting those rods in. And but yes, we thank you guys for tuning in. And if you stayed here till the very end, like and subscribe and all that happy hoo-ha. Thank you very much, guys. Until next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store link in the description. We have Hail Xenu, Xenu is my homeboy, and BFG branded mouse pads, shirts, mugs, all sorts of other stuff in there that helps us to bring you new content on a regular basis. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, in hardback, Kindle, and Audible versions as well. There's also a link to our podcast, and you can get that on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click on this link right here, or you can click on this one here, or you can click on the subscribe button right here. Thanks a lot. Until next time.